You asked and we are answering. We asked you to submit your most pressing questions about coronavirus on our KDKA Facebook page. And today, KDKA's Dr. Maria Simbra is here in the studio with some answers. Thank you.
Great to be here, Kristine.
All right, so question number one, if you're sick, how do they know if you have coronavirus or some other virus like the flu? What are the symptoms?
Right, well, this is where testing is important. So basically, testing is not anything complicated. It involves taking swabs from your nose and your throat, and they collect a variety of body fluids, and these are sent to the lab. And this is where we've heard about those test kits. So these are special tests that are run at the state lab, and they're looking for the genetic material of coronavirus. And if they find it, then you have coronavirus. Now, the problem is that we have a limited capability in testing right now, so they can only run a certain number per day, and we don't know all the people that have this. Right now, we're just testing people who have the right travel history, the right travel exposures, and that's who they're prioritizing. But
because the symptoms of flu and coronavirus without the test are very similar.
They are very similar. So you will develop fever with both of these, cough with both of these. Though with coronavirus, they've noticed it has been a dry cough mostly. And then later in the illness with coronavirus, you'll become short of breath.
Okay.
But yeah, it can be hard to tell apart.
All right, let's ask number two. What are the underlying conditions that could make the coronavirus more dangerous?
Right, so they took this from mortality data, and they have seen that people who have serious chronic medical illnesses or conditions can be more at risk. For example, heart disease, diabetes, lung disease, cancer. These are people who are more likely to have severe illness and require hospitalization and perhaps even die from this.
All right. Now here's a question I hadn't thought of. Are products from China safe, or do I need to disinfect them once they come home?
Yeah, so there's no reason to suspect that packages from China would be carrying novel coronavirus. You know, we take packages from China all through their flu season. No one's ever caught the flu from that. And even if an unsuspecting worker coughed a virus particle onto your order, you know, it's a long trip to come to the United States. At ambient temperatures over days to weeks, that virus is going to wither up and die.
Okay, good. Here's another question. Gentleman says, I'm 72, I got a senior dose of the flu shot and pneumonia shot. Does this help me at all?
Right, well, unfortunately, the vaccines for the flu and for certain pneumonias are specific for certain strains of flu and pneumonia and won't protect you against coronavirus. But they can be helpful because you can get a secondary bacterial pneumonia on top of coronavirus. You can get the flu on top of coronavirus. So having those vaccines on board can help to prevent those complications.
So still good to get those if you haven't yet.
Still good to get those if you are eligible, yes.
Okay, great. Here's another question. How safe is it to fly right now in the U.S., especially with little ones?
Well, for the average person, I would say your risk is average. I mean, the air on an aircraft is filtered, so there is minimal risk, but you are in a closed space with other people for a period of time, and it is possible somebody on that flight could have coronavirus. So I would say, as long as nobody coughs directly on you and you don't touch any virus particles on surfaces, you should be okay. You know, just wash your hands thoroughly and often. You can wipe down the surfaces with disinfecting wipes. If you can take a seat by the window, that'll minimize your exposure to people walking up and down the aisle.
Okay.
But with kids, it can be hard because they have a tendency to touch everything.
And then put their hands in their mouth.
Right, exactly, yeah. Don't touch your face, don't touch your mouth, your eyes. And then older people, though, they have been advised not to take any unnecessary travel right now, and especially cruise ships. The CDC really does not want older people who are at more risk for the complications to be on cruise ships right now.
Okay, got it. All right, here's another question. Why is there so much hype over coronavirus when more people are actually dying from the flu?
Right. What makes this novel coronavirus such a big deal is its mortality rate. Based on the numbers from around the world, we're looking at a mortality rate of 1 to 3%. So with seasonal flu, that rate is much lower. It's about 0.1% because, you know, there are people who die of flu, but there are a lot of people who get the flu who don't die, so that number is low. Now, that's not as high as Ebola, which has a mortality of 50%, but coronavirus is 10 times more deadly than seasonal flu, so we have to be careful with it. Now, with a 1 to 3% mortality, that means 97 out of 100 people will not die.
Right.
And it turns out 80% of people will do just fine with this, but there's 20% who will have symptoms severe enough to go into the hospital.
Wow. That's a lot of people.
And then some of those people will die as well. So this is not a benign illness for everyone.
And there's no vaccine and there's no real cure.
Correct. We don't have any good treatments right now. I mean, doctors around the world have been trying different antiviral medicines, anti-flu medicines. We don't have any conclusive evidence that those are the way to go right yet.
And one more question.
Yes.
Pregnant women. Are pregnant women more at risk? And what about newborns?
Right. Well, pregnant women do have changes in their immune system that make them more susceptible to respiratory viruses like the flu and like coronavirus. Now, the official line from the CDC is we don't have any information about birth defects with novel coronavirus. There have been a few instances related with similar viruses like SARS and MERS, and so they are watching out for this possibility. And there have been some instances where the mothers have had coronavirus and had some birth defects in their infants, but it's not clear if that was related to the infection or if there was some other problem that was going on with that pregnancy.
Okay.
So,
so much still to learn
yes,
about
indeed.
this. All right, thank you so much for your
you.
help, Dr. Maria.